So now that we've looked at two examples that had a positive in between our two brackets, now we're going to look at an example where we're subtracting two polynomials. So in this case we have a trinomial and we're going to subtract another trinomial. So when subtracting two polynomial expressions, you have to subtract each term individually one at a time. So we're going to have a first subtraction, a second one, and a third one. So the thing we have to remember is a negative times a positive is a negative, or subtracting a positive is the same as subtract. So the first subtraction, when we subtract 5y squared, and because there's no sign in front, we understand it to be a positive. So subtract positive 5y squared becomes negative 5y squared. The second one, and now we're going to be subtracting a negative. Well, subtracting a negative is really adding, or two negatives make a positive. So subtract negative 2y becomes positive 2y. Subtract a negative. And for our third subtraction, we're going to be subtracting a positive. So subtract a positive is a subtract, or a negative and a positive makes a negative, whichever way makes more sense for you to think about it. So when we do that one, we're subtracting positive 1, which is a negative 1. So now let's look at some examples. So our first step is to open the brackets. But in this case, when we come to the second bracket, we're subtracting. So subtracting a negative is a positive, and subtracting a positive is a negative. Same signs, positive, different signs, negative. So we subtracted each of them individually and it ended up changing the signs. So now when we collect like terms, negative 7x goes with negative 5x, positive 3 goes with positive 2, negative 7x, take away another 5x is negative 12x, 3 plus 2 is 5. And again, if it would help you with the algebra tiles, you can go ahead and model this and use the zero principle. Our next one, x squared plus 5x minus 7, take away negative 2x minus 3 plus 2x squared. So the first step is to deal with the brackets. The first set of brackets has nothing in front, it's just holding that trinomial together. But in the second set of brackets, we have to subtract the terms individually. And we're going to remember that subtracting a negative is a positive and subtracting a positive is a negative. So subtract negative 2x is positive 2x. Subtract negative 3 is positive 3. Subtract positive 2x squared is negative 2x squared. Same signs, positive, different signs, negative. Now we collect like terms. X squared, take away 2x squareds, 5x plus 2x, negative 7 plus 3. And we end up with negative x squared plus 7x minus 4. So example 3. Now we also have signs happening in front of our first bracket. So the first step, opening the bracket, is going to mean doing the process with the first polynomial and the second polynomial. And again, subtracting a negative is a positive, subtracting a positive is a negative. So in the first bracket I get positive 7x, subtract 3. Subtract a negative, subtract a positive. For the second one, I'm going to get positive 2, subtract 5x. Subtract a negative, subtract a positive. So now when I collect like terms, I have 7x minus 5x, negative 3, plus 2. 7x take away 5x is 2x. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. So the next example, again we have signs in front of both of our brackets, but in this case we're subtracting the first polynomial and adding the second one. So begin by opening the brackets. And we're going to keep in mind all of our hints for the signs. Negative x squared, negative 5x, plus 7. Subtract a positive, negative. Subtract a positive, negative. Subtract a negative, positive. Negative 2x, negative 3, plus 2x squared. Add a negative, subtract. Add a negative, subtract. Add a positive, plus. Collect like terms. Negative x squared plus 2x squared, negative 5x, subtract 2x plus 7 minus 3. Negative x squared plus 2x squared is 1x squared, or just x squared. Negative 5x, take another 2 away, is negative 7x. Positive 7, subtract 3 is positive 4.